For to win this battle, we must first defeat that English vanguard. So we'll let them come. The pride of English chivalry, all mounted on their great chargers, 17, 18 hands high, covered in armour and bristling with weapons. Oh, they were all there. Sir Marmaduke de Twing, Sir Richard Lundy, and of course the tyrant tax collector himself, Sir Hugo de fucking Cressingham. The arrogance of that man, the arrogance of him. You can, he could not consider, not for one single second, of the possibility that the English might get beaten. Thought couldn't he penetrate his thick skull? It was as if he was expecting Wallace and Murray to let the entire English army get across the brig, to line up in nice neat rows and columns, perhaps stop for a wee spot of lunch, and then for Wallace to ride down the hill shouting, excuse me gentlemen, I'm terribly sorry to disturb you, but would you mind awfully if we came down from the hill now and kicked your cunts in? I mean, he could have taken the English army 6 miles upstream and crossed into Forts of Frew, 60 at a time, and attacked us from the flank and the front. Oh, might have been a different story then, but no. The English will cross at Stirling Brig, and we shall teach these impudent Scotch a lesson. Don't mind if I do. Well, that was his first mistake. You see, the English, they were only fighting for valour and glory, not so us. Nah. We were fighting for justice and the right to live in peace and freedom in our own lands. I mean, it's always this fucking same with these bastards. As soon as some posh cunt comes in and takes over, what's the first thing they do? Oh, they hike the taxes on everything. They taxed our wool for our plaid, the corn for our breed. They even tried taxing our ushkaby. But you see them raising their taxes, do you fuck? You don't see their mouton going up in price, do you? Or their beef, or their fancy French wine. I mean, what the fuck is wine anyway? Folk tell me it's made of grapes. Are grapes no these things that hang for your arse when you go to piles? Anyway, we watched, and we waited. We waited until the English army had split itself in half with the River Forth. Then Wallace ordered the attack, and the Scots infantry poured down onto the English cavalry with fire in their belly and revenge in their hearts. It was like watching an army of ants attacking a cornered wolf that's been separated from his pack. Oh, that wolf! He might have gay sharp teeth and claws, but he's got nowhere to run for the oncoming horde. For you see, with a river at their back and a bog on either side of them, the English were caught like rats in a trap. Murray's Highlanders, Dundonians under Scrimgeour, Fifers under Macduff, Wallace's Ayrshire, they poured down onto the English, and it was all that Lord Surrey and his thousands could do but stand on the other side of the River Forth and watch as we piped and ducked our way through their fine steeds and their noble lords. Oh, they couldn't believe it was happening to them. They just could not fucking believe it. Here they were, the most efficient fighting force in the entire fucking world. Well, they knew that because King Edward had told them so. Here they were being ripped apart by a rag-bag army of barbarian Scots. See, Wallace, he didn't play by their rules. Think on it. What do you do when you're faced by an English knight towering 18 hands above you, covered in armour and bristling with weapons, eh? Well, you didn't ride up to him in a wee heeling cuddy and poke at him with a handmade lance. No. What you do is, you run in, you avoid the knight's lunge, you run under his horse, you stab the fine steed in the guts, the horse rears up, the knight falls off the back, you run round, you put your foot in his neck, you tack your duck, you shove it through his visor. Get in, you bastard. Then you twist. It was a slaughter. Them that didn't die by the blade, they ran off into the bogs and were consumed by the mud. I saw one knight trying to swim the River Forth in full armour. Full armour, what a fucking dunderhead. It was at this point that Lord Surrey, after he'd got over the shock and awe of it all, decided to start screaming at his infantry to get across the bridge and into the fray. They went careering down onto the bridge. Now, Stirling Bridge is made of wood, and it's only wide enough to take 2 horses abreast. At this point, Sir Richard Lundy also decided that perhaps discretion was the better part of valour. Turned round and ran like fuck towards the bridge. Lots of the English heavy cavalry knights thought, that's an awfully good idea, and promptly followed him. So just as the infantry arrived at their end of the bridge, the knights arrived at our end of the bridge, and they went careering across, meeting one another in the middle. A wee bottleneck began to form as men tried to get past horses, horses tried to get past men, and of course all the time there's more infantry piling on behind, and there's more heavy cavalry knights piling on at that end. So the pressure's building, it's getting more and more crushed in the middle, and then suddenly there's a crack, a groan, a pop, and the entire middle section of the fucking bridge disappeared into the river. Not a single man, knight or horse came out of that river alive. They sank like stones. Meanwhile, on our side of the bridge, it was chaos. Pandemonium reigned. There was cutting and slashing and stabbing. Folk asked me afterwards, how did you ken? How did you know who was the right person to kill in all that kerfuffle? I said, it was dead easy. Dead easy. Look, if he was dressed nicely and his breeks smelled of shite, he was an invader, and so he got to kiss my axe. Before long, the mud had turned pink. There were chunks of men and beast slobbering and slithering under your feet as you tried to get purchase. Blood spewed up like fountains, and it felt like you were fighting in red rain. It got in your eyes and your mouth. You could smell and taste the copper. And the reek, the smell of guts, shite and fear clung to that space. That place smelled of it for months. You ken what I remember? What I remember about that battle? My most abiding memory is the horses. Funny that, isn't it? It wasn't the men, it was the horses. I heard a noise that day, the like of which I had never heard in my life before. And I prayed to the sweet Jesus Christ I'd never have to hear it again. For you see, there's a sound that a horse makes as it drowns in its own blood, its navel rent by a rusty claymore. It screams. Oh, sweet Jesus Christ, the screams of the poor beasts. Forgive me the wallies so did. But down there, on that causeway, fighting shoulder to shoulder with Macduff, was my firstborn Magnus. Ha! What a day that boy had! What a day! 15-year-old he was, and his arms were that sere with the killing. At the end of the day, he didn't have the strength left in him to lift his hat to Wallace when he addressed him after the battle. He brought back an English standard as a wee souvenir. It was beautiful. The best fabrics, dyes, colours. It was so lovely. We chopped it up into bits and we gave bits of it out to our neighbours. This is mine. This is my bit of the standard. Look at that. Look at the colour of it. Is that not beautiful? If there's one thing I'll give the English, they're awfully good at dyeing. See what I did there? Anyway, when he thinked his mirror covered in blood, he'd tell her he'd been hunting deer. I said, no different. But see, when that woman found out what he'd really been up to, she went mental. She took a besom and she broke it over his back, screaming at him, "Soldier or no soldier, you'll no lie to me again in a hurry, young man." And did he no scream, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Paul, stop hitting me. I would have leave face King Edward's lance as your tongue any day." Oh, boy. Oh, laddie. and face King Edward's lance. He did. A year later, at Falkirk, our Magnus was with Wallace's self when King Edward crushed the Scots with 80,000 men. The fine, upstanding, courageous Scottish nobleman turned tail and fled at the first sign of fucking danger. But not so the common soldiers, nah. Now we stood with Wallace and we faced that English army. See, Wallace, he'd studied King Edward. He knew Longshanks well. Why? And there were two things that were true and obvious about King Edward Longshanks. Number one, he was cunning. Number two, he was a total cunt. You did not fuck with Edward Longshanks. Oh, no. This man was brutal in the extreme. He had everything planned down to the finest bit, and butchery was his thing. You just ask the Irish, the Welsh, or even his relatives across in France. You did not fuck with King Edward of England. Well, Wallace had studied him. And he knew that one of his favourite tactics when he was up against peasant armies that were ill-equipped, ill-led and ill-disciplined, especially if they had no or next to no cavalry or leadership. What he liked to do was, on a battlefield, he would suss them out, and then he would send his knights and his heavy cavalry forward. They would line up, and then when they'd given the word, they would charge. They would fire down the hill or across the field into the peasant army. They would smash the lines, cut them into smaller chunks. As they did this, the infantry would follow in and butcher the isolated groups of men. Efficient. Very, very efficient.